better money choices. Choose a bank that takes your money seriously. Business Watch is brought to you by Nedbank.
All right, it's 2 p.m. Welcome to Nedbank Business Watch. This is a show that is sponsored by the bank that takes your money seriously, and you're watching Eswatini TV. Definitely a station that takes you seriously. And thank you for making the best decision of your day by tuning into Business Watch today. My name is Sifiso Ngumale, and I'm not alone. I'm with Lungelele Tombeni. How are you?
Nguni, I'm good. How are you this afternoon?
I'm all right. I'm doing all right. Just a bit cold. It's been a cold week.
It's cold outside. Yeah. Good morning. Good afternoon to our viewers as well. Thank you for tuning in. This is Nedbank Business Eswati Business. You can watch us on our YouTube page, Eswatini TV, and DSTV as well. We are on channel 286.
Yeah. Listen, we have very, very interesting developments that we want to unpack on the show today. But you'll remember that it is a month where we look at a lot of things that are happening digitally, and today we want to tackle a growing menace in the digital world: spoofed websites. What does that mean? They look like the real deal, but these cunning imitations are traps that are designed to steal your personal information and money. Now, with Cyber Awareness Month in full swing, we will be joined by Nedbank's Forensic Risk Manager, Spalele Makakula Shabang, who is going to break down how these fraudulent sites are tricking even the savviest of consumers, from phishing attacks to fake ads on social media. She's going to walk us through the red flags as well as share important steps on how to stay ahead of these cyber criminals. This is a conversation every online shopper needs to hear.
Yeah, good afternoon once again. Getting started with financing your solar journey is quick and easy with Nedbank Eswatini, and with various flexible financing options, solar connection has been made affordable and accessible to all, not just Nedbank customers. Bomelelo Motsamai, who's the branch manager in Manzini, will tell us about Nedbank's solar financing, the requirements, options for financing, and also steps to follow. And our last segment today, Head of Treasury will give us an analysis of today's financial markets. Our lead story today, the Minister for Finance, Honorable Neil Reichenbach, says investing in government bonds is safe and secure. Therefore, he urges Amaswati to consider investing on this platform. Let's get straight into it.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while Human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
Welcome back. You're watching Nedbank Business Watch. Let's get straight into our business news.
All right. For our first story, the Minister for Finance, Honorable Neil Reichenbach, says investing in government bonds is safe and secure. He also urges Amaswati to consider investing on this platform. The minister explained this when giving the advantages of investing on the bonds.
The central bank, the government of Eswatini, like other governments, issue bonds to raise money needed to meet budgetary needs, whilst government also finances its operations through taxation and levies. Sometimes these amounts are not sufficient to finance the difference between expenditure and revenue. Then government may borrow by issuing securities. with the Financial Services Regulatory Authority urging eMaswati to invest in government bonds, we asked the Minister for Finance, Honorable Nel Rickenberg, on the advantages of investing on bonds.
The reason why I also really believe it's a good idea to invest in government bills and government bonds, keeping in mind government bills are maturities that are up to 1 year, so it's 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and 1 year. And treasury bonds are from 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, and then 9 years or 10 years. And so the reason why it's very safe investing in these is because it really is government that is standing behind it. It's not a private sector, or it's not something that can actually fold. Governments, always will make sure that they pay that bond. Eswatini government has never defaulted on repaying not only the coupons, which is the interest, but also the original deposit. And so for that reason, it is a very safe investment. And if one can, the longer that one can invest the money in these instruments, the more interest you make. So if you invest in a short-term one, it's less, and you invest in a long-term one, it's more. But at the moment, if one looks at the maturities in Eswatini, we normally pay about between 1 and 1.5 percentage points, or rather percent. One calls it base. If you refer to it as basis points, often referred to as 1% is 100 basis points. So, but it's about 1.5% more than the South African market. So, which means that in Eswatini, one even does better on the interest than one does in the South African market. And for that reason, it is normally a decent return that eMaswati can make if they can invest money for those periods of time and leave it there. Obviously, you can't call the money sooner. You have to really, if you've agreed to say, I'm buying a 6-month bond, you have to wait, or 6-month bill, you have to wait for the 6 months to actually finish before you get your money back.
The central bank further says the government also issues bonds in order to develop the domestic capital market as they provide additional investment avenues for both institutional and individual investors. For Nedbank Business Watch, Nelson Dlangamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Mbambane.
There's been low registration for tractor hire this plowing season, and the Ministry of Agriculture is worried about food security. The Principal Secretary in the Ministry, Sydney Simelane, says the Ministry is currently has 300 tractors for rental by farmers.
We are trying very hard to make sure that food security becomes a reality in the country. So we are encouraging farmers that are going to be growing maize to take advantage of these first rains that have started. Looking at our database and the rate at which farmers are paying for tractor hire, we are realizing that the registration is really low, and we have prepared over 300 tractors for them to use. So if the registration is low, it simply means that they might come to register and pay later when the rains have stopped. There has been an outcry in the past that the moment we focus on planting season for maize, we forget about the horticulture farmers. We've tried to balance that this time, and although we will be prioritizing some areas in terms of maize planting, it does not mean that those who are not in the priority areas will not have the tractors. We are also keen to remind farmers about the charges for the hourly rates on our tractors. The unsubsidized amount is 580 emalangeni, which means that if you come after we've exhausted our subsidy on tractor hire, you will pay 580 to get a tractor per hour. But if you come now, while we still have the resources to subsidize, the farmer will pay 400 emalangeni per hour, and government will pay the additional 180 emalangeni.
Yeah, it's 9 minutes after 2, and that's it for our business news this afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. You're still watching Nedbank Business Watch.
Yeah, we talked to Spalele Shabangu Makakula after the break. We are speaking all things spoofed websites. You don't want to miss it.
of TV licenses for 2024 is now open. Here is a quick reminder. A viewer's TV license costs 180 emalangeni per device. Other accessories such as decoders and set-top box cost 50 emalangeni per device. For traders and repairers, TV license costs 300 emalangeni per business area. And now, to pay your TV license, use these following methods. You can use MTN Mobile Money with the number 76222000 or dial *007 *3 *7 hash. Or you can use Eswatini Imali. And you can pay our TV license at any post office in the country. Another option is you can use any Nedbank branch using our TV license account number 119900430037. Don't forget, when paying for your viewer's TV license, reference with your PIN at all times. And when paying for a retailer TV license, reference with your TIN at all times. For more information, call us on 7802-4543 or 34050163 or 34020879. And you can send us a WhatsApp message on 762222000.
All right, it's 12 minutes after 2. Thank you so much for staying with us. You're still watching Nedbank Business Watch, I beg your pardon, and we want to get into an interesting development right now where you know that in this digital age, the line between convenience and risk is often blurred, and online fraud has become somewhat a growing threat today. And we are joined by Spalele Makakula Shabangu, who is the Forensic Risk Manager at Nedbank Eswatini. She brings a wealth of expertise in navigating the complex landscape of cybercrime. Let's get into it right now. Spalele, welcome to the program. Let's start by understanding the threat. You know, we've heard a lot of conversation around this particular threat. We call it spoofed websites. Talk to me about, how one can really know what this means, how this differs from other types of online fraud.
Thank you so much. So there's two types of these frauds that we'll be speaking about. Firstly, it's the spoofed websites, and then it's going to be these fake adverts.
Okay.
So spoofed websites are basically, should I say, cloned like websites. Your original Eswatini TV website, that is going to be copied by fraudsters. And then the unsuspecting public like myself is going to go on that website. Festive season is coming up now. They'll be running adverts on specials that are going to be coming up for your marketing. So this unsuspecting public will then be communicating with fraudsters, believing that they're speaking to Eswatini TV officers, the marketing team. So it's basically a website that is fake, but mimicking an existing website.
Yeah.
So the look and feel is going to exactly look like Eswatini TV website, but it's basically not.
So it's a near perfect replica, so to speak. It's masquerading as, we're using a perfect example here. We do have a website at Eswatini TV. So how do now these cyber criminals exploit me as an online shopper to, shop or whatever, get, I don't know, everything that I want to do on the website? So for instance, I normally go online. I do a lot of shopping online, not that I have money, by the way. But whenever I do it, I think I have clicked on a replica website before. And it had a lot of adverts that I didn't even understand.
True. So the aim for fraudsters when they put up spoof sites, the main thing is to obtain information, mostly your personal information. What spoof sites will have mostly is that On your spoof site, you are then going to get to a point where you have to make payment. So that is where then you are going to compromise your credentials. So there's going to be obviously a pop-up where you're going to put in your card details, all the information that is going to assist in processing the payment.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that you are going to be defrauded in terms of that particular transaction, that whatever goods or services that you're exchanging, you'll not get. But then you'll be compromised in the sense that those fraudsters are now going to have your information, and they will go on to then process other payments without you knowing. In most cases, you find now clients are disputing transactions. I'm now receiving, notifications of transactions that I didn't process.
Yeah.
Then these are classic cases.
That's very scary. Sometimes even before getting into the transactions themselves, I think I've had an experience myself where I'm receiving emails from something that I've never even subscribed to.
Certainly. So what will happen is that in these spoof sites, for instance, as you are engaging, on these spoof sites, you'll get pop-ups, and you'll be prompt to answer certain questions. Your information is going to be taken. Most of the time, your email address, and all that. Sometimes the certain steps that will prevent you to move to the next stage without you submitting certain information. So at this stage, this is where all your information is then being gathered. So you'll find out that you're now being subscribed in different platforms that you haven't, to the point that some other instances you are being auto-subscribed. The subscriptions are being done, monthly.
Yeah.
And you'll be coming to the bank, I did not subscribe to this.
Let's get into the social engineering part of it, because I suppose it does play a big part in terms of, tricking me as the consumer into making sure that I'm literally lured into partaking on this so-called website. What are some of these psychological tricks that they use to make me feel like, okay, this is the official website from Nedbank, even if it's not?
Okay, I'll give an example. So social engineering is basically gathering information about yourself and luring you, right? If you're a soccer fanatic, right? Let's say you bet in terms of soccer. That's going to be how you're going to get hit or get hooked. And at that point, your guard will be down, because this is something that is very exciting to you.
I'm used
and
to.
Exactly. And your guard is so down, and you're excited, your adrenaline is rushing at the time. So this is where most of the time people get compromised. So basically, it's the things that you like and oversharing on social media. So this is where the fraudsters gather this information. Besides directly approaching you, where they now solicit directly information from you, it's what you voluntarily share.
It's very interesting. It makes me wonder how, they gather this kind of information as to, what people like. And I look at a demographic in Eswatini right now, I know that a lot of local football fans, let me just say football fans in general in Eswatini, love to bet, by the way. Gunalindiza, there's other forms of betting. And I suppose they put those sort of things on their websites to lure them in. Is that right?
There's a lot that they can do. With ladies, it can be hair,
Yeah. Hair is a big thing right now.
It's a big thing. So it can be hair, smartwatches. Is a lot that they can do. And at that point, you get compromised.
Yeah. Okay. If it was another interview, I would have loved to understand why you are wearing your natural hair in this world where that is not so fashionable. But anyway, you spoke on detecting red flags. And, part of that you spoke on, pop-up login screens. You spoke about, other things that we can see online. What are some other red flags that we should be aware of?
All right, okay. Let me just take you a step back. So amongst other frauds is the spoof site. But one key fraud that is a problem for Eswatini is fake adverts, especially on social media, where you are going to, for instance, you see on social media, let's say you're into farming, for instance, and you see an advert on farm implements, for instance, going for a very good deal. And then you inquire, and they tell you three for the price of one.
Yeah.
And then you get interested. Next thing, you take that conversation to WhatsApp. They show you pictures, very interesting, great deal. You make payment. Next thing, they tell you, no, the consignment has left Joburg. They send you papers for the border. You go to the border gate, you wait. and the consignment does not arrive. You try to contact your person.
Well, they took your money, they took your time.
Exactly.
There's quite a lot that they steal from you.
Fake adverts are one of the biggest issues that we're facing right now. Fake adverts as well as the spoof sites. So with the fake adverts, for the red flags with these fake adverts, firstly, it's always a really good deal.
Yeah.
And it's
too good to be true.
Too good to be true.
Right.
It's always the case. Secondly, there's always pressure for you to make an upfront payment. There's always pressure. Thirdly, when you are close to making the payment or when you have done the payment, there's then other terms that come with it, maybe insurance, carriage, or some sort of taxes, some other, additional payments that have to come with it, carriage. There's going to be one thing after another, and you'll be making payment, like 500 rand for this, 500 that, you'll be making payment. And then at some point you'll be like, I've already spent so much. And then you start to ask questions. And at that point you discover you've been duped.
Yeah.
But there's quite a lot. There's that pressure, the issue of now additional costs that have not been disclosed in the while having that initial conversation of that sale. Yes.
Yeah.
And then looking at other things, when you now commit to say no, I want this deal, then they'll say no. Actually, if you bring 3 or 4 more customers, they might even say that you are going to get something for free.
Like
so
they
you'll
incentivize.
They incentivize. So there's a whole lot of red flags, things that you can pick up with that. Because if you think about it, how can a farm implement go for 500 malangin?
Yeah.
Things like that.
Even the government subsidy program doesn't go that low, and it's pretty much the most, the only thing that makes sense right now for a lot of local farmers. Yeah. True. We've also seen a lot of, job opportunities, fake job opportunities masquerading as real job opportunities. And I think I've bumped into one with the voiceover, and you can tell there's an AI-generated voiceover. Are you a Eswatini that wants to study or that wants to, work in America?
Yeah.
We have a simple step, and it sounds so simple and, like you said, too good to be true.
Certainly. And, most of the time, one red flag as well that will certainly give it away is the comments are disabled. Comments are usually disabled for all these fake adverts. And especially for that advert, if you go to the comments, you can't get to the comments.
Yeah, no reviews, no testimonials.
Nothing.
Nothing whatsoever.
Nothing.
Very interesting. Let's talk about payment gateways. Reading through what this thing is, I did see something along the lines of payment gateways and how they are key to facilitating transactions online. How can users really ensure that, the platform they're using has a secure payment gateway?
All right. So what we encourage is that, I'll give an example. When Nedbank Eswatini website, and you know how your app looks like. You know everything about how Nedbank looks like. So when now I get to, let's say, Facebook, and now there's a pop-up, Nedbank pop-up, right there on Facebook, right? Okay, that's all right. There's an advert.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
But now, if then there's an advert that will then now prompt me to make a payment using my Nedbank credentials, abandon that and go to your official app, on your phone. So don't process any payment on any other platform, on social media or any other links, except the usual platforms that you always use. That is your internet banking or your app.
You're providing a lot of helpful tips, and I suppose this one of, typing directly the websites or going through the app itself, as well as securing profiles with strong passwords.
Certainly.
I suppose that becomes important. And I think you guys have also advised us before that we should change our passwords frequently.
Definitely. Change your passwords, but most importantly, besides changing the password, always have a strong password.
What does that mean?
It means you have a password that has got both numbers and different characters. You have your hash, at, think of a song,
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I love Jesus, things like that.
Yeah.
And you find a way, you change the different characters, you put caps.
Yeah.
You apostrophes, things like that, question marks. 1, 2,
underscore,
3,
whatever they call
exactly.
them. All right. Now, Spalele, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
This is Spalele Makakula Shabang. We have been, talking about online shopping and payments, spoofed websites. Thanks so much for staying with us. Let's go for a break, and we'll be back shortly.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while Human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
Thank you for staying with us. This is our Enterprise Watch. Despite an increase in registered feedlots amounting to 599 in September this year, 273 were operational, and business journalist Nelson Langamandla sat down with the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Sydney Simelane, to find out about the challenges in this sector and how the ministry is helping in addressing all these challenges.
Thank you so much, PS, for joining us on Nedbank Business Watch. We have received information that businesses under feedlots are not performing well. Have you done any research on this as a ministry, and what were your findings?
It is very true. It's a correct observation. The number of feedlots in the country is declining. We have had a big concern on this because there are two issues that are happening here. The first one is that the registration of feedlots is actually increasing. We've got more people registering feedlots, and the numbers are going up. But at the same time, the number of feedlots that are actually operational, the number is going down. Let us look at our production starting from April 2023 to September 2024. We realized that we had 397 registered feedlots, and out of the 397, 307 of those were fully operational. As we progress towards the end of the year, and actually going to September 2024, we have 599 registered feedlots in the country. Of those 599, only 273 are operational. So you can clearly see that there's a decline in the number of feedlots in the country.
At the beginning of this year, PS, the Minister for Commerce, Industry and Trade mentioned that there is still market for this industry. He said the Eswatini meat industries alone has mentioned that they need about 500 cattle to slaughter a day, but they end up slaughtering 250 a week. What are some of the causes that makes this industry not to thrive?
There is a number of issues that we need to consider here, the contributing factors. First of all, if you are running a feedlot, you need feedstock, which means you need the younger cattle that you will put in the feedlot, and then you will take good care of them so that they produce a high quality beef. The feedstock is not easily available in the country, mainly because we have stopped or blocked importation of cattle from South Africa. So it is because of the FMD, foot and mouth disease situation. So because of that, farmers were struggling to get these small or young cattle that they will feed properly so that they can actually sell them after a couple of months, which we call feedstock. They have not been easily available, so most farmers had a problem with that. The second issue is that the food that they feed to the cattle, the feed that they actually feed to the cattle, has actually gone up exorbitantly in terms of pricing. It is really expensive. So a number of farmers have decided that they cannot continue with the feedlots. So as a result, then we've had this decline. One other point one would like to raise is the scarcity of availability of certain feed stuff that they need. There is a term that they use. They say that it simply means it's these are the remains of maize after grinding the maize. That is what remains. So they find that very important for feedlots. Sometimes the companies that produce the cattle feed would sell that to the farmers, but there is a big shortage. The companies that are actually supplying the country are actually not in a position to meet the demands of the markets. And then again, the price of yellow maize is a concern for us, because yellow maize is what is actually more effective in terms of nutrients for the cattle compared to white maize. Yellow maize is definitely imported from South Africa, and as a matter of fact, that is the only maize that we allow the companies that produce cattle feed to import. But because it is imported from South Africa, then it becomes it makes the cattle feed more expensive, which means the farmers then begin to struggle to afford to buy cattle feed from these companies. The third condition, or maybe contributing factor to this situation, is that when you are working on a feedlot, normally for the winter season, it works very well, because farmers who have their cattle in rural areas, they feed them on the grazing areas, but in winter, they are not in a good condition to sell to abattoirs, for instance. So they then rely on the feedlots. But once the rains come and the fields become green, then the abattoirs move away from the feedlots. They go to the ordinary farmers on Swazi Nation land, because their cattle will definitely be cheaper. And secondly, because of the rains and the grass that has grown in that particular period would be good enough to feed the cattle. So then, as a result of that, the feedlots, or those people who are running feedlots, then they begin to suffer.
Is there anything that the ministry is doing, Piers, to support these businesses, especially because I've seen you supporting those farmers that are in agriculture with subsidies?
It's a very difficult situation, in the sense that government cannot be in a position to subsidize these farmers. Like I've mentioned, the situation for feedlots is very dynamic. It changes within a short period of time. So government is planning now as to how the ministry can assist these farmers, just to make sure that the farmers have a consistent business. Now, one way of doing that would be to establish the proper value chains for beef supply in the country. There's a big need for beef in the country. These feedlots can still work and help us provide the meat that we need, especially taking advantage of this time where we cannot import meat or cattle from South Africa. So our local farmers this should be an advantage for them. but that is not the case. So we are trying to find out as the ministry as to how we can actually assist these farmers. So one way is that we want to establish value chains. In our National Agriculture Investment Plan, we have ideas that we want to work around with, and these ideas include organizing these farmers into associations whereby they will have advantages of buying feed for their cattle in huge quantities and share the benefits of discounts and things like that. So we want to try and make sure that the meat sector or industry has good support in those terms. Now, also what we are trying to do, we want to make sure that the cattle that are available on Swazi Nation land, the traditional farming methods, will somehow be available throughout the year so that the patterns or the changes are minimal, because it is these changes that actually affect us. At some point in time, you find there's a lot of cattle coming from our traditional farmers, and then that affects the production in the feedlots. But here, what we want to emphasize is that the quality of the meat that comes from feedlots will definitely be different. So they must have this upper hand in supplying meat to butcheries or other institutions that may need to supply meat.
It's always a pleasure, PS, having you on the show. We are hoping that the interventions that government is planning to do to help farmers will become a success.
Exactly. Taking right off Nelsiwe's tongue there, hoping that our farmers there continue to benefit from all the, the programs that the Minister of Agriculture keeps doing, and making sure that we don't see these fluctuations and that we are back in that sustainable path. Let's go for a net break. We'll be back shortly.
Welcome back. You're still watching Nedbank Business Watch. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're joined by Mpumelelo Motsamai, who is the branch manager at Nedbank Eswatini Manzini branch. We're continuing with our topic with Nedbank solar financing options provided by Nedbank Eswatini. Mpumelelo, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Hope you're well. So what are the options that are provided by Nedbank?
Okay, under the solar financing, we have 4 options. Option number 1 is under the urban home loan facility. It takes up the whole structure of the financing for home loan. The tenure is up to retirement. The security is the property that you own. The security needs to have the property in place, needs to have insurance. Okay. It should have insurance covered for hail and everything that insurance currently provides. And then option number 2 we have under the solar rural facility. Under the rural, it is covered by your pension. The pension, you take up to 60% of your pension. So that is the security for that type of loan. The tenure is up to 10 years. The same as with the urban home loan, you need to have an insurance cover for that. Okay. Yeah. So, okay, yeah. And then the third one is under APF. Under APF is up to 72 months, the tenor. The security there is the actual solar PV equipment. That means that the property, the solar equipment remains property of Nedbank until you're finished with the installments with paying up the loan. And of course, the tenure is 72 months, like I said, and it needs to be also covered for insurance purposes. Yes.
All right. So, a lot of people still live in rented properties. Is it applicable to people that live under those properties?
It is applicable, provided the property owner signs you a waiver document in order for them to consent in the installation of the solar PVs.
So you do advise it as Nedbank. For instance, when I decide to move, I've been renting for perhaps 6 months and I want to move again. Do you advise it as the Nedbank Eswatini to install the solar geyser at a rented property?
It would depend on the need that you currently have. If you see the need and you see it fit to have the equipment there, you should speak to your landlord, of course, to make sure that they're also in agreement, because remember, the equipment will belong to you after the 6 months you've left the property. Okay. So you should be in agreement with the landlord. But ideally, it's perfect for home use where the property belongs to you, or for businesses where you know that the benefit is long term.
Okay, so what does Nedbank actually cover? Is it only the solar geyser, or it's the whole equipment, solar equipment? Electricity has become expensive. What does Nedbank actually cover?
Okay, it depends on your need. What you do is you go to the approved vendors, where they give you a quote and analysis and a needs analysis. So you make sure that you advise them, you have a house this big, this is what you need. Maybe you'd want the geyser, you'd want lights, you'd want plugs. So they provide an extensive equipment for all your needs. Okay. So we cover everything, anything that you want to buy that is related to solar.
So then what are the requirements? What documents should I bring to Nedbank?
Okay, first and foremost, every product we use the affordability test. So in order for us to do the affordability test, you need to provide us with your pay slip, where we'll count for you if you afford and how much you afford. Then from there, the quotation from the provider, your ID, and the rest of the documents would be the property documents if you're living in a rural urban home loan, rural or urban home loan.
Okay, so I suppose this is an individual, an entrepreneur who wants to apply for the service. Do you cover that person? Because I think you mentioned pay slips, one of the documents required for the service. How does that go about?
Okay, for businesses, we follow the business loan processes, where the business owner will come to the bank, provide the necessary documents. Can be the income statements for the business, the financial statements for the business. Okay. It can be the what's this other thing, the whole licenses that a business has, in order for us to calculate. I fumbled there.
Okay, so is it insured? I'm sure it's
definitely everything is insured. It needs to be insured, so that if anything happens, there's theft, there's a hailstorm, you are covered on that. We would love that you make sure you contact your insurance provider, find a quote, and get the property insured before you actually utilize it.
So speaking of hailstorm and theft, so if it so happens, so Nedbank does cover that expense, that you reinstall the solar panels?
Yes, definitely. The provider, the approved vendor, will reinstall the property.
Okay, so what do you hold as collateral?
It depends on which one you take up. So if it's the APF, the solar PVs themselves are surety. If it's the urban home loan, the property in place, the insurance, you need to take up insurance for that. So it is insured on all the different products.
Okay, so can I put forward more than one application? For instance, I have 2 homes that I want, the panels to be installed. Okay. Is that possible for an entrepreneur, for someone who's pensionable?
Yes, definitely. Depending on everything is dependent on affordability. So if your affordability is in place, as long as you afford, then you're good to go.
So what's the minimum amount that one can pay, you know, on a monthly basis to cover up for this cover?
Okay, for this, everything is dependent on what you're taking, but the minimum equipment that you can actually have is the minimum is 10,000.
Okay.
So the repayment will be calculated on what you have taken up.
Okay. So take us through the steps, you know, to being solidified under Nedbank Eswatini.
Okay.
Is it quick and easy?
It's very easy.
Okay.
The first thing you need to do is get in touch with an approved vendor. Once you get an approved vendor, they will do a needs analysis where they will check your house or whatever property that you want to put the solar in. After that, they'll provide you with quotations, and then you can come to any Nedbank branch to apply for solar financing.
Okay, so how long does it take, you know, anything that involves money? It's a process with documents and everything, with all these requirements. How long does it take?
Okay, our turnaround times are 3 business working days. So in 3 days, you'll be good to go.
Okay. So how do you say that this is an approved vendor? Where do I confirm?
Where do you confirm? Okay, you can use any other vendor. What we'll need to do is to check if the things that they're providing for you for are alleged. It's new equipment only. We don't do second hands. You can also contact Nedbank for them to advise you on which of the suppliers are approved.
Okay, I suppose it's quick and easy.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. So the demand, you know, how many people actually want this?
It's a lot. It's a lot. With the campaign that it has been rolling for about 2 to 3 weeks now, so customers are coming through. So they need the solution. They desperately need the solution. So I advise everyone to take it up.
All right. So a startup is contacting your Nedbank.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So take us through your contact details. Where can people contact you in case of, you know, they want to ask more questions?
Okay. They can call the help desk. The help desk line is 3278 1999. They can email helpdesk@nedbank.co.za or contact their designated banker. We all know that when you're banking with Nedbank, you have your designated RM. So contact your RM so that they can hook you up with solar financing.
All right. Thank you so much, Mpumelelo Motsamai, branch manager at Nedbank Eswatini Manzini branch. She was taking us through the Nedbank solar financing service provided by Nedbank Eswatini. Do contact them for more details. Let's go on for ad break. Sabuya Konamach.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
Welcome back to Nedbank Business Watch. This is our market analysis. We want today to what is happening with Toba Gametsa. He's the Treasury Sales Manager at Nedbank. He's going to help us navigate through the latest trends in foreign exchange, commodities, as well as equities, shifting dynamics globally and locally. We're going to unpack these movements, what they mean for businesses and investors alike. I beg your pardon. Let's kick things off with foreign exchange, Toba. Welcome to the program. A very good afternoon to you. I'm looking at the numbers here. What I'm seeing, this is foreign exchange, by the way. US USD SZL has dipped. This is by 0.43% to 17.6050. But both euro and the pound followed suit. It's dropping by 0.28%. What does this tell us about the interplay between local and global currency strength?
Right, good afternoon, Sviso, and good afternoon to the viewers. So today we are seeing the rand weakening quite a bit from the levels that we've seen a couple of days ago. So this morning, Statistics South Africa released inflation numbers for September 2024, and it showed that inflation declined significantly to 3.8% from 4.4 in August. The market had priced in a decline to 3.9%. So what this then means is that the SARB is likely to then continue cutting interest rates, and they might do so aggressively because now the inflation has dipped quite significantly, especially from the midpoint or the preferred midpoint of 4.5% that the SARB normally targets.
That's quite interesting. Everything is on the red. You know, if you've seen a child eat food with beetroot. Anyway, let's move on to commodities. Gold remains resilient. This is a tick by 0.09%. And, on the flip side, Brent crude is down by 0.42%. And what should we make of these opposing trends in commodities?
Yeah, so I'll start with the gold. So gold is doing quite well. I think we've seen it over the past few months, recording record levels. Today trading at 2,751.4 per ounce. Still a number of things. The first being that gold is considered a safer asset to invest in. So it's considered a safe haven metal. So in times of uncertainty, investors then tend to look at those kind of investment options as opposed to your stocks and emerging market currencies. So gold is doing quite well. Actually, it has risen 33%. From the beginning of the year, which is, makes it the best performing investment asset in 2024.
Wow, 33% you said?
33%.
From January until
right the levels that we're seeing now, yes.
That is very, very amazing. And, we speak of gold being a safe haven, and I always imagine this is only for the few minority that can afford investing in gold. But what about Brent crude? How do we define what is happening there?
Right, so Brent crude is has dipped a bit to $74 and 75 cents per barrel. A couple of things. The first one, so yesterday in the US, a report came out that their crude oil stocks or stockpiles have significantly increased. I think the market was expecting them, to increase by 300,000 barrels, but they increased by 1.64 million barrels. So that speaks to demand of oil. That means that then, the economy is slowing down and there's less demand for it. So that then would obviously hurt the price. But I think that has also been sort of protected in a way. I would say we'll be seeing an even greater decline. But because of the conflict in the Middle East and the uncertainty in terms of supply disruptions and all of that brings, the price has also, managed to balance a bit to the levels that we are seeing. I think the market is still expecting to see what Israel's response will be to Iran's attack. So there's still that uncertainty that is pushing the price of oil. Yes.
But when you speak about protection, what do you mean? How do we define that?
Well, so that is to say, looking at the way the stockpiles have increased in the US, you would expect that the price will sort of significantly move. But because of the counter problem that is presented by the conflict in the Middle East, which speaks to disrupted supplies or limited supplies, then the demand of oil sort of then increase. So the two then tends to net each other out.
Wow, let's keep praying that these conflicts end as soon as possible. Let's move on to equities. It's an interesting market here. Sea of red, just like what we saw with the foreign exchange. FTSE slipping by 0.14%. JSE All Share Index as well dropping by 0.037%. Are we seeing a market correction here, or is it just minor adjustments?
I think it's more on the uncertainty. I think with the US presidential elections coming up in, I think the 5th of November, early November, investors are sort of just cautious with where they put their money. So when you speak of equities, it's more of a riskier investment. So you would like to see that what kind of policies are going to come into play and how those will affect the performance of your investment. So this is more caution on that front. The S&P 500 down 0.05%, trading at 5,851.20. It's a small decline, but nonetheless, there's quite also a lot that's happening with in the US in terms of equities. We are in the third quarter reporting cycle, so most of the companies are reporting their earnings for the third quarter. Today we have Tesla, we have Boeing, we have IBM reporting, so investors are waiting to see what the data is going to look like. But we also have a story that we're watching closely is that of McDonald's. So the share price dropped 6% in early trade this morning due to allegations of E. coli outbreak coming from their quarter pounder hamburger, resulting in the death of one person and 49 people getting sick. So the market has sort of then responded to that. So there's quite a few things happening that are contributing to the price of the index that we're seeing today. And then the FTSE as well, significantly down. There, similar situation. Market is waiting to see what the US election is going to look like. But there's also the UK budget next week. So the market is also just waiting to see what that is going to look like. And there are sort of prospects that the Labour budget will put further burden on taxpayers, both individuals and companies. So that then weighs down or clouds the outlook of the pound as well.
It's very interesting. I'm going to, read more on what is happening in America, what is unfolding with McDonald's there. I've seen that in a movie somewhere before, so it's very interesting to me that it's unfolding in real life. Thanks so much, Toba, for your time. Thank you to our viewers as well for staying with us. This has been Nedbank Business Watch. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Make better money choices. Choose a bank that takes your money seriously. Business Watch was brought to you by Nedbank.
sithi asendlulise kudumisa uyomlisa uphuma uyangena wekunene nanini bofakazi uphumile waya ngaphandle kwale live letinye tinkaphana abuye nato wekunene simbone ehla enyuka nawo wonke nangimathapha avula emabhizinisi
nakaya ngaphandle mind of state Mr Speaker aphuma only if kuyiwe lukhethweni ayawucasta for emavotes ayawukhanvasa for emavotes but sibona thina imbubo emhlaba iya kubantu bayo ayike ufuna livoti iyawubasekela iyawabakhuthata ukuthi abasebente babe munye iyawufaka ukuthula sitasukuthi umise Mr Speaker lokhu sethembele nokuthi nemhlaba utawufunza lokuthi vele nasifuna inyawo lolungilo vele kufuna kubiwe